So I have Adam today on the call. A lot of you guys have seen me do cold calling with him. He is a gentleman here in Nashville, Tennessee. He reached out to me a couple times on Instagram, and his story claims that I ignored him, but I don't remember ignoring him. And then finally he came out and helped me on a project one time for no reason. Just, yeah, we're recording. Thanks, Patrick. He came out and helped me on a flip that I was doing where I had contractors that were supposed to go out, and then those contractors canceled like last minute. And I was like, well, looks like I got to flip a hammer. Haven't done that in a while. So I just went and did it myself. Just tore out a whole kitchen in a day by myself. I was done with everything by the end of that night. I had the floors installed. It was ridiculous. But Adam came out and was like, hey, really want to learn this game, yada, yada, yada. I've been a musician for the last, fill in the blank many years. He's a professional musician. He studied for it in California, if I'm not mistaken. He plays professionally downtown Nashville. If any of you know anything about Nashville, that's not easy to do. So he decided, and so I was like, okay, well, let's give it a shot. Kind of did a couple of things together, and ultimately landed on wholesaling. Something I hadn't done before, but I had a lot of connections. And he said, look, man, I'll do all the footwork if you're willing, if we go on this journey together. And he literally started with me, I would say, like truly wholesaling, probably end of December, beginning of January. Adam can correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. And we learned the same thing you guys learned from Propstream, from that video do you guys remember that video from Propstream, the owner dude? And then we got a little bit of knowledge about launch control from Raphael. And then, or I don't know if it was Raphael or not. And then we went from there, and we just kind of did the things that that everyone tells you you're supposed to do without, investing a ton of money into it. So I'll let Adam talk a little bit about that. I'm going to let him go through Propstream a little bit. And if he can share his screen with launch control as well, how we use that, and how we've locked up close to $16,000 in wholesale deals, in wholesale fees in the last month and a half or so. So Adam, what's up, dude? Welcome to Rat Race.
Hey, thanks for having me.
For sure. Whose backyard do we want to mess with? Nah, do tennis Nashville or something in Tennessee that we've already done, somewhere where you feel comfortable.
Okay. So I don't know how familiar you guys are with Propstream. I know they had one of the guys from Propstream come in and do a video for you guys, and that's actually where I learned a lot of what we're doing as well. The way we started doing, when we decided we were going to kind of target the whole state, the way we kind of broke this up was basically went through and picked out every zip code and made a spreadsheet of like different areas. I kind of broke the whole state up into different areas and made zip codes that fell in those different zones, put them in a spreadsheet, because with Propstream up here in the search tab where it says Nashville, Tennessee right now, you can actually go in and put 5 zip codes at a time, and it will pull those 5 zip codes. And if you don't clear it out when you're done, you can just keep copying and pasting zip codes in there, and it won't erase the filter that you've already used. So if you see over here under unique properties right now, when we just put in Nashville, Tennessee, we've got almost 240,000 properties that come up. We're going to filter that down using all these different criteria. One of the first things that we've done is go here to the MLS status, and under that tab where it says MLS status, it says all right now, we go down and go to fail. Both of the properties that we've locked up so far have been failed listings. I have been adding in.
Hey, Adam, would you mind explaining why we pick what we pick? Like, why do we do fail? Why do we do 50 days? Like, not just clicking, but can you explain to them why we pick those, if you don't mind?
Yeah. So we were looking for properties that the owners had tried to sell in the past. So a failed listing is also considered an expired listing. It's the same thing. We just Propstream labels it failed, where MLS does expired. So we were looking for properties that somebody had already tried to sell and didn't have any luck with it. And the reason that I'm doing like 50 days, if there's a lot of properties that show up, I'll sometimes go up to like 70 or 75 days. The reason we're doing the days on market minimum like that is a lot of times these properties will list and then they'll disappear after a day. I don't know why that's happening. Felipe may have some answer for what's happening there, but those are not necessarily properties that we're looking for. We're looking for ones that sat on the market for a long time and nobody ever touched. We know that the owners want to sell, but for whatever reason, they were unable to. So that's why we're targeting failed listings. Also in this tab, I've been doing where it says listing amount. I've been doing like 250,000 max listing amount because we don't want to dive into, Nashville, certain areas of Nashville have really, really expensive property. We don't want to necessarily get into that because most of those properties aren't necessarily going to be distressed unless it's some kind of owner distress. They don't really make great for wholesaling. So we're looking for properties that we can get under market value. 250,000 is probably still on the high side. Both of the properties that we've got have been well under $100,000. But that's a good starting point. And if you end up with a lot of properties in that search, you can always narrow it down and start dropping the maximum listing amount. Next thing would be under property characteristics. Under property type, you're going to have to decide what you're looking for, what you're searching for. We've been doing single family stuff. So, click that tab. If you're looking for duplexes, triplexes, or quads, click the multifamily 2 to 4. And if you're looking for bigger commercial properties, apartment complexes, stuff like that, go with the multifamily with the 5+. And the property classification, we're doing residential. We're not looking for commercial property in our wholesaling right now. So that's a start. That's kind of a basis for most all of our lists that we've pulled so far. We have been looking under the equity tab here. A minimum equity amount in the house of 50% or more. And that's to give us meat on the bone. Some of these houses are going to pull up and they're going to either have negative equity or the owners could only have built up $10,000 worth of equity in a $200,000 house. And that's just not enough room for us to make any money. So we need something where they've got at least 50% equity in the house. A lot of the ones that we're doing are more owned free and clear, so that would be 100% equity. But both of the houses that we found so far were actually inherited houses. So those were already paid off, everything was good. But doing at least 50% equity or more seems to be a good starting point. If you're really, really, really trying to find something very specific, you can do it on here. We have been we've been specific on what we're looking for, but in a broader form of it. So we haven't dove into a lot of the nuances, with the exception of senior owners, which on the last 2 lists that we pulled, I did add senior owners into the mix that were obvious landlords. Like I would do the senior owners that didn't live in the property, so they weren't owner occupied, and that they had owned them for at least 10 years or more. So they're older couples who are landlords who are probably tired of dealing with it or looking to liquidate their portfolio and just retire. Some of these people have a huge portfolio and they're looking to consolidate it so that when they do pass away, they're not leaving a huge mess for their kids or their grandkids or whatever. It's just like they're selling everything and putting it all in one pot. And when they pass away, that's where it's all at. Their kids don't have to deal with, 30 properties or whatever. So we have run into that too. when we target cash buyers, if you're trying to find a cash buyer in an area, you would actually put in that they have 100% equity in it, because that's typically a flipper that paid, either hard money, bought the house, that kind of thing. We can get into that a little bit later, but that's kind of like when you've got a property under contract and you're looking for somebody to wholesale it to. Then we do come back to that estimated equity and jump it up to 100%, just because those are likely other investors